Can you all view the PPT?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Doc.
Okay.
Yes, you can see light
Yeah.
clearly.
So last week we actually considered an introduction to the course, more or less. We looked at the course outline, academic policy in terms of your study expectation, and your reading text, as well as your assignment. And the assignment has an end date. Make sure you meet that deadline. Okay, your course rep suggested 1 week. I've added one more week. So there shouldn't be any excuse. I expect you all to do well. And then I think we had we had a brief moment to introduce ourselves. Not everybody was able to introduce him or herself, but I think that's fine. The essence of coming to the university is to be able to network. I can see most of you are already part of the working class, but if you're able to network, your job becomes easier, and you are able to also kind of bridge gaps, get things done quickly, and all that. And so it is important for you to network. So today we want to look at the first topic. That is marketing. How can we create and capture customer value? And so in terms of the learning objectives, by the end of this facilitation, I expect you to define marketing and outline the steps in the marketing process. 2, explain the importance of understanding the marketplace and customers, as well as identify the 5 core marketplace concepts. Next, you should be able to identify the key elements of a customer-driven marketing strategy and discuss the marketing management orientations that guide marketing strategy. And last but not the least, by the end of this facilitation, you should be able to discuss customer relationship management and identify strategies for creating value for customers and capturing value from customers in return. And finally, you should be able to describe the major trends and forces that are changing the marketing landscape in this age of relationship. What time are we supposed to end this class?
12:30.
12:30. Okay. So let's see. When it's 11:47, I'll possibly give you a 10 minutes break. And then possibly, well, let's see. Let me just continue to check. Let's see if we'll be able to finish in 1 hour.
Go.
Okay, so let's look at this brief vignette. Please, anybody, colleagues, kindly mute your mic. I hate interference, right? When study, it has to do with Amazon.com. In fact, Amazon is the online pioneer in selling books, as we all know. But now it sells everything from music, electronics, tools, housewares, apparel, and groceries to clothing, loose diamonds, and even lobsters, right? So the success of Amazon is attributed to its customer-driven policy. How was it done? They created a unique personal customer experience by introducing personalized home pages, personalized product recommendations. And they also adopted a discovery factor where users of the site are compelled to look, learn, and discover for themselves. And as a result, Amazon has become an archetype or a model for other companies focused on delivering customer value. In fact, this is what today's topic is all about: how we can create value as marketers and capture this value in return in the form of profits, right? Now, let's come to the definition of marketing. There are two main definitions of marketing. Of course, there's the social and the managerial definition of marketing. Now, according to the social definition of marketing, marketing is a societal process by which individuals and groups obtain what they need and want through creating, offering, and exchanging goods and services that are of value freely with others. As a managerial definition, marketing has been described as the art of selling products. Let's look at other authoritative definitions of marketing. The American Marketing Association offers this managerial definition. They are of the view that marketing is the process of planning and executing the conception, pricing, promotion, and distribution of ideas, goods, and services to create exchanges that satisfy individual and organizational goals. And then Professor Philip Kotler also defined marketing as the science and art of exploring, creating, and delivering value to satisfy the needs of a target market at a profit. Now, with the definitions that we've just appreciated, it is evident that marketing basically involves creating value for customers and building strong customer relationships in order to capture value from customers in return. As a result, marketing has two major goals. The first is to be able to attract new customers by promising superior value. And the second is to be able to keep and grow current customers by delivering on satisfaction. Now, this brings us to the various forms of marketing. Essentially, marketing comes in two forms. In the traditional form, marketing is seen in abundance at shopping malls and in magazine, television, and direct mail advertisements. Therefore, marketing in the old sense basically refers to making a sale, right? More with the slogan telling and selling. Now, in the contemporary form, marketers have assembled a host of new marketing approaches, such as imaginative websites, mobile phone apps, blogs, online videos, and social media. Thus, marketing in the new sense involves satisfying customer needs. Now, let's also consider the marketing process. Of course, the figure you're currently viewing presents a simple 5-step model of the marketing process for creating and capturing customer value. In the first 4 steps, companies work to understand consumers, create value, and build strong customer relationships in the final step. Strong customer relationships, right? And so in the final step, companies then reap the rewards of creating superior customer value. And these rewards are in the form of sales, profit, and long-term customer equity. Now, take note. This diagrammatic exposition is a model. You are likely to find questions around it during your possibly mid-semester exams or end-of-semester exams, right? Where I can ask a question like this. The first step in the marketing process is, and then I mix it up. And so you need to have this at your fingertip and know that the first step is to be able to understand the marketplace and customer needs and wants. I can even say the fourth step in the marketing process is what? And then I mix it up. You should be able to point it out that the fourth step involves building profitable relationships and creating customer delight, right? For me, once you always come to class, you figure out how my questions are going to be executed, right? So I don't sell my questions. If you always come to class, by the end of the class, you definitely have a pool of questions because I'll be dropping hints as to what and what you should expect, right? Now, so having discussed the marketing process, let's look at how we can understand the marketplace and customer needs and wants. Of course, marketers need to understand customer needs and wants and the marketplace in which they operate. Consequently, please, let me finish. And then you can ask your question, okay? Otherwise, you distort the flow. Let me finish. So just write the question down patiently. Now, the 5 core, unless it's a concern, maybe you're not hearing or you're not getting the feedback or something, then you might want to chat. Or even if you have the question, you might want to send it through chat, right? Now, the 5 core customer and marketplace concepts are needs, wants, and demands on one hand. Then market offerings is the second one, which includes the 10 entities that marketers are concerned with. That's why we have goods marketers, we have services marketers, we have event marketers, we have place marketers, we have individual/celebrity marketers, right? Donald Trump, in the kind of suit he wears, the kind of shoes he puts on, the haircut, the way he presents himself, is all being marketed by a celebrity marketer. We have organization marketers, information marketers, ideas marketers, property marketers, and even experiences marketers, right? And the third core customer and marketplace concept is value and satisfaction. We'll be looking at all these. And the last but not the least has to do with the concepts of exchanges and relationships. And then finally, we have markets, concluding the 5 core customer and marketplace concepts. And so we want to kind of appreciate or have a fair understanding of this concept, right, from a marketing perspective. Most of you are not new to some of these concepts or terms, but let's get to understand their meanings from a marketing perspective. So we pick the first one, which are needs, wants, and demand. Of course, customer needs are the states of felt deprivation, right? They include basic physical needs for food, clothing, warmth, and safety, right? They also include social needs such as the feeling of belongingness and affection. And then it includes individual needs such as knowledge and self-expression. You are here essentially to fulfill an individual need, right, to gain knowledge. Now, wants are the form human needs take as they are shaped by the culture and individual personality, right? For example, somebody in your class or in this class may want a phone, but based on his or her own individual personality and culture, that student may want to have an iPhone. Another student may want to have a phone, but based on his individual personality and culture, may go in for, let's say, a Yam or a second-hand iPhone, a second-hand Android, or a techno phone, right? Now, when backed by buying power, wants become demands. And so, given their wants and resources, people demand products and services with benefits that add up to the most value and satisfaction. What then are market offerings? Of course, consumer needs and wants are fulfilled through market offerings, as has been espoused earlier. Consequently, market offerings are a combination of products, services, persons, place, etc., as in the 10 entities that marketers are concerned with. Right. Now, it is important to put into perspective the concept of marketing myopia, which refers to paying more attention to the specific products a company offers than to the benefits and experiences produced by these products. In fact, these sellers will have trouble if a new product comes along that actually serves the customer's needs better or less expensively. And so the customer will have the same need, but will want the new product because the focus is not really on the outer frame of the product, but the satisfaction and experience that the customer expects to go through. Now, what then is customer value and satisfaction? Of course, consumers face a broad array of products that might satisfy a given need. And so customers form expectations about the value and satisfaction that various market offerings will deliver. Obviously, satisfied customers buy again or do a repeat purchase and tell others about the good experience, about their good experiences, right? While dissatisfied customers do switch to other competitors and criticize the product to others. And so it is important for marketers to set the right level of expectations. If they set expectations too low, they may satisfy those who buy but fail to attract enough buyers. If they set the expectations too high, buyers may be disappointed at the end of the day if they are unable to fulfill their needs. What about exchanges and relationships? Of course, marketing occurs when people decide to satisfy their needs and wants through exchange relationships. And so an exchange is the act of obtaining a desired object from someone by offering something in return. Consequently, marketing consists of actions taken to create, maintain, and grow desirable exchange relationships with target audiences involving a product, an idea, or other objects. Therefore, companies want to build strong relationships by consistently delivering superior customer value. What then are markets? Markets are the last core customer and marketplace concepts, right? Markets, right? So a market obviously is the set of actual and potential buyers of a product. Sellers must search for buyers, identify their needs, design good market offerings, set prices for them, promote them, and store as well as deliver them. Although marketing was traditionally carried out by sellers, the concept now also includes consumers, right? And so consumers engage in marketing when they search for products, interact with companies to obtain information and make their purchases. Thus, customer managed relationships are important as customers are empowered and marketing is made a two-way affair. Having discussed this, it is important to appreciate what is embedded in a modern marketing system. And this can be depicted by the diagrammatic exposition you're currently viewing. So the figure basically shows the main elements in a marketing system. Please, I won't ask you to draw this during exams. It's just to aid your understanding, right? Now, each party in the system adds value to the next level. And the arrows you are currently viewing represent relationships that must be developed and managed over time. Thus, a company's success at building profitable relationships depends not only on its own actions, but also on how well the entire system serves the needs of the final consumer. Now, it is important to put into perspective how we can design a customer-driven marketing management, right? So to do that, even though you're not doing marketing management, it's important for you to understand what is meant by marketing management. You get to do that in level 300. Now, marketing management is said to be the art and science of choosing target markets and building profitable relationships with them. And so to design a winning marketing strategy, the marketing manager must first answer two important questions. First, what is the target market? And second, what is the value proposition? Now, the company must first select, in an attempt to design a customer-driven marketing strategy, the company must first select the customers to serve, which is done through market segmentation. Next, the company must decide how it will differentiate and position itself in the marketplace. Of course, we'll be looking at this in another chapter, right? Now, a brand's value proposition is then referred to as the set of benefits or values it promises to deliver to consumers in an attempt to satisfy their needs. Now, having moved from that step, it is important to know that there are 5 alternative concepts or philosophies or orientations under which corporate bodies design and carry out their marketing strategies. The first alternative is a production concept. And this refers to the idea that consumers will favor products that are easily available and highly affordable. The second school of thought is the product concept or the product philosophy or the product orientation. And this refers to the idea that consumers will favor products that offer the most quality, the best performance, and innovative features. And then the third school of thought is the selling concept, actually. And this refers to the idea that consumers will not ordinarily buy enough of a firm's product unless the firm undertakes a large-scale selling and promotion effort. And the fourth philosophy or school of thought is the marketing concept. And this refers to a philosophy in which achieving organizational goal depends on first knowing the needs and wants of target market and delivering the desired satisfaction better than competition. And currently we have a final school of thought, which is the societal marketing concept. And this refers to the idea that a company's marketing decisions should consider consumers' wants, the company's requirement, consumers' long-run interest, and society's long-run interest. And so this is a diagrammatic position on the selling and marketing concept. While the selling concept looks at selling and promotion and building profit through sales volume, the marketing concept believes in first knowing customer needs and wants and tailoring products towards those needs and wants, and thereby creating value and possibly gaining profit through customer satisfaction. Then for the societal marketing concept, the figure you're currently seeing shows that companies should balance three considerations in setting their marketing strategies. That is company profit, consumer wants, and society's interest. Having discussed this, let's also consider the marketing mix. Of course, the marketing mix is the set of marketing tools the firm uses to actually implement its marketing strategy. So the marketing mix is not a marketing strategy on its own. You know, as lecturers, we do have our small businesses here and there. And so for one of my businesses, I have about 3 first-degree graduates working for me. And those days, I hired a marketing executive, a lady, a first-class lady in marketing from Central University College. And so I asked her to put together a comprehensive strategic plan for the year so she can present it to the board, first to me and then to the board, and possibly we take it from there. You know what she did? All she did was to write the 4 P's of marketing and define them on paper, half a page, and she was done with the comprehensive marketing plan. Straight away, I fired her. Because she doesn't really know what she's talking about, right? So as procurement student, what I'm taking you through should give you some insight into marketing so that when your marketing manager or marketing executive is deceiving management and yourself, you will be able to point out 1 or 2 things to them. It doesn't mean you should go and be challenging them. No. They are the technocrats in their fields, but some of them may want to lie. And so you can then possibly point it out to them humbly that no, you are of the view that it should be A, B, C, D, because Dr. Akude said it, right? And so the marketing mix is not the marketing plan in itself. We'll be doing strategic planning and the marketing, and you get to appreciate it, right? So the major marketing mix tools, which are the traditional P's in marketing, are product, price, place, and promotion. Now, to deliver on its value proposition, the firm must first create a need-satisfying market offering known as a product. It must then decide on how much it will charge for the offering, referred to as price, and how it will make the offering available to target consumers, referred to as place. And finally, it must communicate with target customers about the offering and persuade them of its merits, which is referred to as promotion. It is worthy of note that the firm must blend each of these traditional marketing mix tools into a comprehensive integrated marketing program that communicates and delivers the intended value to choosing customers. Now, let's consider other concepts so far as marketing is concerned. And so let's look at customer relationship management, very key. Now, customer relationship management basically is the overall process of building and maintaining profitable customer relationships by delivering superior customer value and satisfaction. It deals with all aspects of acquiring, keeping, and growing customers. The key to building lasting customer relationship is to be able to create superior customer value and satisfaction. So this brings us to the perspective of customer perceived value. Please take note of all these concepts. You'll be seeing them in your end of semester exams objectives. Now, customer perceived value is the customer's evaluation of the difference between all the benefits and all the costs of a marketing offer relative to those of competing offers. Importantly, customers often do not judge values and costs accurately or objectively. They rather act on perceived value. And so to some customers, value might mean sensible products, sensible products at affordable prices, right? Then we have the concept of customer satisfaction, which is the extent to which a product's perceived performance matches a buyer's expectation. Of course, most studies show that higher levels of customer satisfaction lead to greater customer loyalty, which in turn results in better company performance, right? And so smart companies or smart corporate bodies aim to delight customers by promising only what they can deliver and then delivering more than they promise, right? And so if you are a user of, let's say, Samsung Android phone, and somehow the phone got damaged, but you do not have money to buy another Samsung phone immediately, you might want to possibly go in for a Techno phone or an itel phone.
Hello, Doc.
Yes.
Just a quick one. So, some of us are taking notes, so kindly please slow down a bit for us.
Hey, my brother, There's so much to teach. Okay, I'll try. I'll try my best. But you're supposed to record this facilitation so that when you're playing it, you can then take your time. Okay.
Yes, I will doing
Take
that.
my
Thank you.
time. There's so much to do, and that's why I'm.
Just that we are following your explanations and it's
Yeah,
help us when we are drafting the notes also.
yeah. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Hey, my big man. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Don't worry. Even at the end of this, I'll still give notes to your course rep to give to you because I appreciate the fact that you are procurement students. Some of you may have had some background in marketing, but some of you are new to it. Even if you have a background in marketing, maybe you've been out there for years and you've become rusty. And so, yes, once I finish this, the course rep should prompt me. I'll drop the notes so you share with your colleagues. They are self-explanatory, right? But if I give you my PPT, you won't understand anything. So yes, you can make the notes, but I'll also drop notes, right? Okay. So I was on the example of customer satisfaction and how it results in customer loyalty and customer satisfaction and how by extension it leads to customer delight, right? So somebody damaged his or her Samsung Android phone and doesn't have money. Maybe the person wants the one of the highest versions. Understand some are going for as much as 20,000, 30,000, and the rest. Say, wow. Well, that's good for people. I don't believe in spending so much on phone. A very expensive phone of mine got stolen some years back, and since then I've revised my notes on buying very expensive phones. It was even a contract phone I had, from the UK. I was on holidays in Ghana. So I decided to bring it along to flex more. And somehow I lost the phone. And, it was so devastating. So devastating. And since then, I'm somebody who buys basic phones, affordable phones. You may call me old-fashioned, but then not really. I just don't want to buy a very expensive phone, and then it gets missing, and you thinking all through the night, you can't even sleep, and all that. So yes, somebody might have damaged a 20,000 Samsung phone and doesn't have the money to do a replacement buy. So the person may want to go in for maybe a Techno phone or Itel, which kind of serves similar purpose, Android interface, etc. But then the customer or consumer is not expecting the Techno phone to last more than 6 months, right? And he or she doesn't expect the Techno phone to outperform the Samsung that he or she damaged, right? Sometimes Techno phone, you'll be using it and it goes off. That's it. Maybe battery damaged or whatever. So with this in mind, the prospective consumer decides to then go in for a Techno phone as a stopgap measure. And in using the Techno phone, he or she realizes that, look, the Techno phone is as good as the Samsung that was damaged. And then after 6 months, the Techno phone continues to work efficiently. After 1 year, after 2 years, the technophone continues to work efficiently. And so by this, the technophone company has exceeded the 6 months expectation of the customer. And by that, the customer becomes delighted. So the customer is satisfied after 6 months that the phone has met his or her expectation. And then beyond 6 months, into 1 year, 2 years, the customer becomes delighted. I say, wow, I never knew the technophone can perform as efficient and durable as this. So that is what we mean by customer delight. So at your level, when we ask you to define customer satisfaction, we're only expecting you to indicate that it is the extent to which a product's perceived performance matches a buyer's expectation, right? At the master's level, customer satisfaction is this, and then by extension, when the product's perceived performance exceeds the buyer's expectation, then there's customer delight. So these days, I always preach to my students that corporate bodies shouldn't only be interested in merely satisfying customers, which is a big challenge to them, but should aspire beyond satisfying customers to delighting customers. Right? Okay, let's make progress. Now, let's also consider the customer relationship levels and tools. Of course, companies can build customer relationships at many levels, depending on the nature of the target market. At one extreme level, a company with many low-margin customers may seek to develop basic relationships with them. At the other extreme, in markets with few customers and high margins, sellers want to create full partnerships with key customers. Now, marketers can use specific marketing tools to develop stronger bonds with customers. Consequently, some of the tools offered include frequency marketing programs that reward customers who buy frequently or in large amounts. On one hand, loyalty reward programs that offer special benefits for customers who buy frequently, and club marketing programs that offer members special benefits and create member communities. Largely, the club marketing programs are usually tailored towards luxury items, right? Let's say the Bentley Club in Ghana, made up of Bentley buyers. There are few. Or those who ride Harley Davidson motorbikes. They usually engage in club marketing programs. Now let's look at another concept. Customer engagement marketing. Of course, today's companies are using online, mobile, and social media to refine their targeting and to engage customers more deeply and interactively. And so customer engagement marketing refers to fostering direct and continuous customer involvement in shaping brand conversations, brand experiences, and brand community. Of course, its goal is to make the brand a meaningful part of consumers' conversations and lives. It is important to note that internet and social media have given a huge boost to customer engagement marketing in contemporary times. This is because newly empowered consumers have more information about brands, and they have numerous digital platforms for sharing their brand views with others. And so greater consumer empowerment means that companies must practice marketing by attraction, which is creating market offerings and messages that engage consumers rather than interrupt them. Right? For example, Starbucks has more than 34 million Facebook fans, and Coca-Cola has more than 61 million Facebook fans. And so, how many Facebook fans or consumers does your company have on its Facebook domain? Now, let's also look at another concept referred to as consumer-generated marketing. I think there is one more. Yeah. Consumer-generated marketing. Of course, consumer-generated marketing refers to brand exchanges created by consumers, by which consumers are playing an increasing role in shaping their own brand experiences and those of other consumers. This might happen through uninvited consumer-to-consumer exchanges in blogs, video sharing sites, social media, and other digital forums. But increasingly, companies themselves are inviting consumers to play a more active role in shaping products and brand concepts. Let's look at another concept, partner relationship management. Of course, this refers to working closely with partners in other company departments and outside the company to jointly bring greater value to customers. Now, partners within the firm may include cross-functional, homogeneous teams. Consequently, rather than letting each department go its own way, firms must link all departments in the course of creating customer value. And so marketers must also partner with suppliers, channel partners, and others outside the company. And through supply chain management, companies today are strengthening their connections with partners along the supply chain. Right, so let me try to give an example. At your place of work, if the marketing department wants to embark on a drive or a battle plan, execute a battle plan, they must form more of a cross-functional, homogeneous board, execution board or team that should involve a representative from each department, so that each department is aware of the marketing action being implemented. So they can also stay focused and alert and perform activities in support of executing those marketing activities or strategies. So if you work for a company and the marketing department wants to embark on, let's say, a promotional strategy or possible that involves maybe a discount, a price war such as half price, 60% off, 40% off, etc. The finance department must also be ready to make sure that their pricing regimes reflect whatever the marketing department is trying to espouse out there to the general public. Of course, even the security at the gate, the receptionist, etc., should know about these promotional strategy or activity ongoing, so that when prospective consumers approach the corporate body's gate, the security will be able to direct them to the appropriate quarters for them to be served, right? And so that has to do with the internal value chain capability. Then there are also partners outside the firm, which are suppliers, wholesalers, channel partners, etc. The marketing department must also be able to work in a synergy with all these partners outside the firm to actually execute whatever they embark on successfully, right? So this brings us to creating how we can create customer loyalty and retention. Of course, keeping customers loyal makes good economic sense. Fact. This is because loyal customers spend more and stay around longer. Consequently, customer lifetime value as a concept is the value of the entire stream of purchases a customer makes over a lifetime of patronage. This is because customer defection can be very costly, and a corporate entity can end up losing the customer's lifetime value. And I always sound this warning to most corporate reps. And I can see most of you work in these corporate bodies. And what I've observed over time is most of your workmates are interested in clients or customers who come to make big purchases. You might not know if the story of a poor customer might change in about 10 years, in about 20 years, okay? Even if the story doesn't change and that poor customer becomes a loyal customer and buys your product every year until he dies at, let's say, 90 years, then obviously in terms of the customer lifetime value, you have made so much gain in terms of aggregation. And so learn to treat, ordinary customers well. Don't only lick the boots of the rich class whenever they engage with you. Learn to treat the ordinary customer also very well, right? So it is the value of the entire stream of purchases a customer makes over a lifetime of patronage. So this then feeds into what we refer to as customer equity. But let's first look at the share of a customer. This is said to be the portion of a customer's purchasing that a company gets in its product categories. And this can be increased by having good customer relationship management, offering greater variety to current customers, and creating programs to cross-sell and upsell to market more products to existing customers. But as I said earlier on, the customer lifetime value and the share of the customer as a concept feeds into what is referred to as the customer equity. These are all concepts that you need to be abreast of. They should be at your fingertips because you definitely have them in your end of semester exams. Now you come face to face. You won't hide behind a PC and be using AI to answer questions. That's why I don't believe in the online mid-sem thing. even though, yes, it's effective. Let's see. So customer equity is the total combined customer lifetime values. Know the difference between customer equity and customer lifetime value. This is the entire stream of purchases per customer over a lifetime of patronage, right? And so customer equity is the total combined customer lifetime value of all potential current and potential customers, right? And so it helps to measure the future value of the company's customer base. It increases when the loyalty of the firm's profitable customers increases. And that's why we must treat ordinary clients or customers well. And it is, in fact, a better measure of a firm's performance than the current sales or market share. Now, let's look at the various customer relationship groups, as can be seen in this diagram. Of course, the figure classifies customers into one of four relationship groups according to their level of profitability and projected loyalty. Each of the four customer relationship groups requires a different relationship management strategy. Consequently, the company will not gain anything by investing time and resources in developing relationships with strangers. This is because they have low potential profitability and short-term projected loyalty. For butterflies, the company should create satisfying and profitable transactions, capturing as much of their businesses as possible in the short time during which they buy from the company. And this is because they are characterized by high potential profitability, but are short term, right? And so efforts to convert butterflies into loyal customers are rarely successful. They are short term. Maybe they go in during price wars, maybe Black Friday, festive occasions, etc. They just quickly go buy one or two staffs and they are out for the rest of the year. They are short term. And so it is difficult to maintain them, right? But they have the money to spend. Then we have the true friends. And they have the potential to generate good profit for the company over time. This is because they are characterized by high potential profitability and long-term projected loyalty. The firm should therefore make continuous relationship investment to not only satisfy but delight these customers and nurture, retain, and grow them. The company may be able to improve the profitability of barnacles by selling more to them, raising their fees, or reducing services to them. This is because even though they have long-term projected loyalty, they have low potential profitability. However, they cannot be made profitable because of the low potential profitability, right? And so some companies normally advise that, not much focus should be given to them. Oh, okay. So as we wind down, we want to look at the factors that are changing the marketing landscape in the 21st century. And this is a potential essay question. You may also have it during your end of semester exams objectives. Now, every day, dramatic changes are occurring in the marketplace. And 5 major developments that are changing the marketing landscape and challenging marketing strategy include the digital age, changing economic environment, growth of not-for-profit marketing, take days for the level 400, rapid globalization, call for more ethics and social responsibility. So we take them one by one. Now, digital, so we're looking at the digital age, right? Digital and social media marketing refers to using digital marketing tools such as websites, social media, mobile apps, online videos, emails, and blogs to engage consumers anywhere at any time via digital devices. In fact, social media provides stimulating opportunities to extend customer engagement and get people talking about a brand. Mobile marketing is the fastest growing digital marketing platform as I speak. This is because marketers use mobile channels to stimulate immediate buying, make shopping easier, enrich the brand experience, or all of these put together, right? For example, Starbucks can use their mobile devices for everything from finding the nearest Starbucks and learning about the new products to placing and paying for orders. Malcolm does the same thing. In fact, most shops and restaurants in Ghana perform similar actions. The next bit I want us to look at, the next factor influencing the marketing landscape in the 21st century, is the changing economic environment. Of course, the Great Recession of 2008 to 2009 and its aftermath hit consumers hard. And so after almost 2 decades and still counting of overspending, new economic realities have forced consumers to bring their consumptions back in line with their incomes and rethink their living priorities. In the post-recession era, therefore, consumers have become a lot more frugal or thrifty, as there are new consumer spending values which emphasize simpler living. And so it is important for marketers to focus on practicality and durability in their product offerings and marketing pitches. Let's look at the third factor. This has to do with growth of not-for-profit marketing, growth of marketing within the context of charity organizations, non-profit organizations, right? It's a course I normally teach, the level 400. Now, marketing has become a major part of the strategies of many non-profit organizations or charity organizations. They tend to face stiff competitions for support and membership these days. And so sound marketing can help them attract membership, funds, and support. It is also important to note that government agencies have also shown an increased interest in marketing, right? For example, you have Ghana Water these days trying to improve its communication strategy with its customers. Same applies to ECG, even though they're still not performing at the highest level. Some of us believe that privatization of these sectors will actually help consumers to get the most when it comes to these social services. When I was in the UK, it was easy for me to switch between electricity companies, right? There was the British Gas, there was the Southern Electricity Company, there was, I think, one from Europe, etc., etc. There were about 6 or so providers of ECG. And so with a phone call, they switch your services to the various providers of ECG. And then immediately, the previous provider will start calling you and start asking you whether they've done something wrong that you're not happy with. And that they will be ready to beat the rates of their competitor that you've actually ported to now and all that, trying to convince you to come back, right? And so it creates some healthy competition, provided the politicians will not, muddy the waters. It creates healthy competition, right? The same applies to the provision of water. If you're not happy, you can easily switch, And so Ghana, we need to possibly adopt such strategies. These days, most of us are drilling boreholes because Ghana Water opens its tap maybe once in 2 months. By the end of every month, they bring bills. And that's very annoying. Anyway, then we have rapid globalization and societal marketing as another factor influencing the marketing landscape in the 21st century. Here, managers in countries around the world are increasingly taking a global and not just a local view of the company's industry, competitors, and opportunities. Right? For example, a new internet retailer finds itself receiving orders from all over the world at the same time that possibly a Ghanaian consumer goods producer introduces new products into emerging markets abroad. And so as a result of globalization, we're having Chinese cars flooding the system, thereby increasing competition. And so if you're a manufacturer of vehicles such as Kantanka, and you do not give your corporate body a global view rather than a local view, you may easily get swallowed by other global competitors. And then there is the corporate ethics and social responsibility, which is also affecting the marketing landscape, right? Today's marketers are being called on to develop sustainable marketing practices or green marketing practices, right? Corporate ethics and social responsibility have also gained in importance. They seek ways to actually profit by serving the immediate needs and the best long-run interest of their current and prospective customers. So this is an expanded model of the marketing process. I won't ask you to draw this. And obviously, we'll have to bring down the curtain by recapping our learning objectives. And so by now, if I should give you a quiz online, you should be able to define marketing and outline the steps in the marketing process to me. Which is this, right? And then 2, you should be able to explain the importance of understanding the marketplace and customers and identify the 5 core marketplace concepts that we've just discussed. 3, you should be able to identify the key elements of a customer-driven marketing strategy and discuss the marketing management orientations or philosophies that guide marketing strategy in terms of the production concept, product concept, selling concept, marketing concept, and I think the societal marketing concept, right? Last but not the least, by now, I expect you to be able to discuss the various concepts such as customer relationship management and identify the strategies for creating value for customers and capturing value from customers in return in terms of customers' lifetime value, share of the customer, customer equity, etc. Right? And finally, I expect you to be able to describe the major trends and forces that are changing the marketing landscape in this age of relationship. It's a major question that I always ask during end of semester exams. And if I ask this, I may ask the question like this with relevant examples. Describe the major trends and forces that are changing the marketing landscape in this age of relationship or in the 21st century. All I want you to do is to write on these 5 points for me for a markup. Right? So basically, that's how I set my questions. So I'll pause here. If you have any concern, suggestion, further examples, you may want to say it. Else, we end the class and then I will then forward the notes immediately to your course rep. They're still trying to set my LMS. And so while they are at it, it's important that I at least get you the notes as well. You can also read the basic text that I recommended and make some extra notes for yourself. Right. So course rep, just send me a prompt immediately after this class. Okay. Yes, Kim, let's hear from you.
Sir, please, can you please bring the summary of what we've done, the objectives? If you could bring it for me again. I was taking some notes.
Okay. Okay, which one? Is it objective 1, 2, 3, or 4,
Sir,
5?
the first one. No, the first one.
So the first one, you should be able to define marketing. You know, we defined marketing from a social and a managerial point of view. And we also
Sir,
appreciated other authoritative definitions of marketing. Right. So you should be able to do that. There will be
sir,
questions on that. Yes.
yes, sir, I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So
Thank you,
Michael
I'm fine.
Ajay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Michael Ajay, let's hear from you.
Thank you very much, Doc. So
Yeah.
I have 3 questions.
Okay.
First of all, I would like to find out if I am right to say that per the deductions I made via your lecture, if I say that marketing is basically, creating value for customers, for society, and for the organization. Am I right, please?
Partly right.
Okay. All right.
Please,
Okay.
creating value for what?
For the
customers.
society, for
Okay,
customers,
for the society,
and then for the organization or the business.
customers,
and organization.
and organization. The issue here is this. The definitions, any marketing definition must include 2 ingredients. The ability of marketers to create value in the form of the goods and services and other entities of marketing that they provide, like place marketing, etc. But for the purpose of this discussion, we are used to goods and services, right? And so this definition actually satisfies the ability of marketers to create goods and services for consumer, society, etc. But it doesn't end there. As we create the goods and services in the form of value, we also capture value in return
Return. Okay.
from society, customers, etc., in the form of profits.
Profits.
Because
Great.
you cannot be
Yeah.
creating goods and services without thinking about cost implications and other things. That's why I'm saying that this definition is not wholly consistent with the definition of marketing. And then number two, before you can come up with your own definition of marketing, then you might have published a textbook that has been universally accepted, such as the reading text I've given you, or you might have published, what's the name? A research article that makes you an authority, right? And so for me, if I may just, let me see if I can share, there's this, where's my published articles? Yeah, there's this research article I worked on, and in that article, I brought a different definition. I proposed a different definition of a service. I don't know where. And so that has become, well, maybe under services marketing, that has become my authoritative definition of service because it has been published. Do you get it? I just want to show you an example. And so you don't just get up and do definitions. These definitions must be published and they must be wholly consistent with other literatures and they must be unique. I don't think I can find it here, but then I did couch a new definition for services marketing here. So it's just to tell you that for you to be able to do that and use it, it should either be in a a universally accepted textbook or published in an international article that has been peer reviewed, right?
Well
So
understood.
yeah. Okay. Any other?
Okay. My next question is that when we were looking
Yeah.
at
The second question. Yes.
when we were looking at the kind of expectations that organizations must set for, consumers,
Mm-hmm.
you said that it shouldn't be so high so that customers at the end of the day, get disappointed. On the other hand, it shouldn't be too low.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the middle ground?
The middle ground is what I said. Of course, you can set the expectation to be high and back it up with premium goods and services.
Great.
An example is Mercedes-Benz, Bentley, right? The expectation is high, but anybody who is going in for Mercedes-Benz knows that they are going for durability, they are going for performance, they are going for efficiency, etc. Right? By assuming you go buy a car, I don't know which car. I think people these days complain about the Range Rover. You buy the Range Rover, and even though it's got the luxury features, you are not sure of the durability. Because even though it's a luxury feature, it is not as robust as is being espoused out there. And so if you set that high expectation and consumers do not get it, it is likely to affect your sales volume and eventually profitability. And so, and then if you set too low an expectation, you are not likely to attract enough customers as possible. So marketers who are cautiously optimistic prefer to set the expectation within a middle ground so that, yes, at the end of the day, your expectation will still be met. And if that expectation is exceeded, such as the example I gave with the techno phone, then yeah, it's a boom season. So that's how it works. If you want to go with a high expectation, make sure you provide premium product. If you want to set too low expectation, you should have a strategy. Is it that you're trying to break into a very competitive market? And then other conservative marketers who prefer to set the expectation in between these two. That's all I'm trying to explain.
Grateful, Doc. The last question is that,
yeah.
suppose it's personal in the sense that it has to do with you as our lecturer and the course in question.
Yeah.
So suppose a question is asked, and that has to do with us, discussing what marketing is about. Are you expecting us to quote authorities and move on? Or after quoting the authorities, we try to give our understanding of what they mean?
Sure.
Thank you, Doc.
Sure. So if I should ask you to explain the term marketing, definitely once there's a question like that, know that I'm expecting two definitions of marketing, which is the social and the managerial definitions of marketing. And if you want to distinguish yourself, you move on to indicate that even though these are the two major definitions of marketing, there are other authoritative definitions of marketing. And that's one by the American Marketing Association, another one by Philip Kotler. There's a definition of marketing by Chartered Institutes of Marketing UK, etc. Right? And so after bringing in these definitions, you are required to then explain the themes within the definitions. And if you look at all the definitions that I've given you, they essentially are talking about marketing being a science or marketing being an act. Some are combining that marketing is a science and an act, but the basic theme in there is that they are able to identify customer needs and wants and tailor their products to suit these needs and wants, and are able to then capture customer value in return in the form of profits, right? And so as you kind of bring to fore these definitions, it is important to explain the salient themes in there. And possibly you may want to also give it a relevant example, because all my questions will come with relevant example. With a relevant example, explain the term marketing. With a relevant example, analyze also, and so discuss this with practical examples, do this. I want to see these examples in your work. That makes your work rich, right? And so when it's getting to the end of semester two, I'll discuss with you what you should expect for end of semester exams. I normally will cover all the taxonomies, a bit of objective, and there will be a case study in the compulsory, and then you have your essay questions where you get to express yourself in practical terms. I want to see how you are able to relate. So the case study gives you the opportunity to relate theory to practical situations, and then there will definitely be an essay session, right? And so you are good to go. Any other question?
I'm very grateful, Doc.
Yeah. And I'm also humbled. So I think on this note, let's bring down the curtain. Cost rep, just send me a WhatsApp right now and let me send a note, because once I leave this PC, it will be difficult to get me. I have a couple of lectures with the graduate school, the master's students as well.
Hello, Doc.
Yes.
Doc, please, does it mean that when we are being asked, for example, what is marketing, we are expected to not to give just one definition, but more than one?
If you give one definition of marketing, you failed. Because I did inform you from the very beginning that there are essentially two main definitions of marketing. There's a social perspective to marketing and there's a managerial perspective to marketing. So if you just go give me a social perspective to marketing and I'm supposed to award 5 marks, I'll give you 2.5. I'll give you 2.5. But the student who gives me both a social perspective to marketing and a managerial perspective to marketing takes about 4. And the students who decides to move an extra mile by indicating that, oh, there are other authoritative definitions of marketing, etc., takes the full mark. That's how we mark. Right? So take note. Sometimes you may be knowledgeable in the field, but understanding the exam's question and the requirement of the question is another step to doing well in the exams. Right? So just take your time. When you start reading a question, make sure you read the question to the end and think about it properly, right? My questions are very, very tricky. And so you need to read it and think about it properly, do a skeleton and be clear in your mind that this is the answer. Of course, I always say in marketing, there's no wrong or right answer. It depends on the justification you make, right? But then when it comes to authoritative definitions, such as the definition of marketing or models, such as the marketing process or the 4 P's in marketing, that's the traditional P's in marketing. Of course, you cannot but indicate it as it is, right? Because you are not yet an authority. You've not done any publication for us to critique and even appreciate. So let's follow them. Very soon you become PhDs and you'll be publishing, and then we can take your authoritative definitions.
Hello,
That,
yeah, Doc.
yes.
Yeah, please, thank you for that very one. But also in the assignment being given, there is a portion which stated that there should be a citation and a reference, right? And I want to know if it necessarily demands a citation. I don't know, maybe if we will have to cite, then we have to make it detailed, but is it the case that it necessarily calls for a citation or a reference?
Yeah, for reference, it's important. Which books did you consult to answer the case study? You are not an authority yourself. And so you couldn't have used your own knowledge to answer the case study. This is not comprehension. It's not English comprehension. You are going to be applying theory to practice. And so the books that you consulted, the books that you read, the research articles that you read, to be able to come up with the answers in terms of the demands of the case study, you need to be able to properly reference them. Otherwise, it becomes plagiarism, and that's a serious crime within academia, right? And you need to be able to cite. It doesn't mean bring in a lot of citations. For example, you are just pushing me to answer the question for you. If you are able to then give your answer a preamble and indicate the sectorial focus of the case study and the fact that it is in the hotel industry, what product does the hotel industry sell? Can you tell me? What do they sell?
Hospitality.
No, please.
No, they don't
Services.
sell
Services.
hospitality. Services. They sell services, right? So based on that, you can then cite an authority that defined services, right? Let me see if when was this publication? Let me see if I can get it on. Can't get it here. You know, and so you kind of define services. Let me see. One minute. Services. I've defined services, and it's being used by a lot of authorities, right? But then there are other definitions of services, right? Let me see. I want to get it. Services. Standard services here. Just 1 minute. It was in that article, but just want to be services. Okay. Okay, so if I may share again. Okay, so when I'm teaching you services marketing, so this was my authoritative definition as exposed in the research article I was trying to show you in. Based on the various service definitions I have read and the research on services, I gave a new definition of services in 2023. So that's recent knowledge, right? Maybe by this time, other researchers have also come up with the definition of services. But before this definition that has been universally accepted, we're all using the definition of services by Professor Hinson, an astute marketing professor, and that definition was in 2004. That is dead knowledge, right? So I define service as an action or a sequence of action of an intangible nature which takes place between a consumer and a service provider as remedies to consumer requirement. It is in the article I showed you, Akude 2023, right? There are other, I'm sure by this time, Professor Kotler, Armstrong, Keller, etc. A lot more people, Parasuraman, Zientamel, and Berry, they are some of the services marketing gurus. You have gurus, you have Frost, you have Oliver, etc. These are all gurus within the services marketing landscape. My PhD is in services marketing, and so I'm a services marketing expert, right? And so basically that is it, you know. So yes, what then is a service? You put in an authoritative definition, that is it. Now, when you then understand the ingredients of the case study, you then move to the question, what are they asking you to do? I won't tell you, but once you are clear about what I'm asking you to do, then you have to then go, for example, I'm just giving you an example, not the answer. Assuming the case study had asked you to explain the 4 P's in marketing in relation to the case study, then of course, if you take the first P, which is product, then you get to explain product from a theoretical or possibly a conceptual point of view, right? That any marketing idea begins with a product, blah, 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 blah. Okay? And then you look into the case study and use an example from within the case study to support your explanation of the product mix in marketing. So after explaining product to me, you then tell me that as evidenced from the case study, So and so and so and so and so and so happened. And this has something to do with your explanation of product. Then you move to price, you move to place, etc. And so apart from explaining to me what is meant by place or price from a marketing perspective, there is something that I have indicated about the price, about the place in the case study, which you should then use to buttress your points. So by the time you are done with each point, you should be doing around half a page or slightly beyond half a page. Right? And so if you bring to me a 1 page and 1.5 page assignment, you know that you are going to score low marks technically because you've not done justice to the work. And the font size is 12. Some of you, because you write scanty, you end up emboldening the font size to 20 to make the thing plenty. That's unacceptable, right? So if you just follow and you do the right thing, you should be able to.
Yeah. Hello, Doc.
Yes.
Please, can we paraphrase, but yet cite, where the source is coming from?
Yes, you have to paraphrase. The fact that you are citing doesn't mean you should copy dito. If you don't paraphrase, it will affect your similarity index, which is the plagiarism. But the fact that you are paraphrasing as well doesn't mean that you distort the original meaning of what has been said. So, for example, you kind of say, so I define marketing as an action or a sequence of action, right? So, like I say, according to Akude 2023, service is an action or a service is a continuous action of an intangible nature which takes place when consumers and service providers interact as a solution to consumer needs and wants. You've paraphrased me. And nobody will hold you responsible for plagiarism. Right? But if you want to quote me, then you use these very words and put it in quotation comma. Then that one too, you are safe. But largely, when you are writing essay type questions, it's not advisable that you quote authorities. But then when it comes to definition, you should be able to quote, but you can also paraphrase if you want to. And this is an example of an in-text citation. And so references are very important. We want to know the books you have read, right? Maybe we are yet to also read those books. So it will give us an insight to also go back and read those books. As for lecturers, we are still students and we are still learning. People just come and learn, graduate, wear your nice heels, your Brazilian hair, that's the ladies, the gentlemen in their suits and all that. And that's it. For us, learning is a continuous process. You continue learning till you drop dead. Because this is what we have decided to do. Contribute to knowledge so far as the world is concerned. Possibly it will make the world a better place. Right? Okay. So I think we can call it a day now.
Yes, Doc, but I want to know if maybe you have a platform which we can, maybe when we get locked up in the mind for something we would like to test or something, so that maybe you can just, if you have the time, explain one or two to us to just make sure
just WhatsApp me. I gave out my phone number the last time. If you don't have it, contact the course rep. Just WhatsApp me. It's just that as the HOD for marketing, I attend a lot of meetings. But once I see your WhatsApp, I should be able to read it. And if there is any suggestion, I'll quickly give it to you. But don't ask
Okay,
me
thank
the case study and how you should answer it. That one, any other clarifications? Yes, I'm open to it. Okay. All right. So on this note, I wish you all the best and hope to see you next week. But the course rep will share the notes with you. Okay, bye.
Thanks for your time and nice weekend.